Blog on the blog. Tomorrow's news today. Get to the truth. Comment, subscribe, share. Visit us at YAHOWAH.com.
Hey, we've got Dipo. Dipo, what'd you think about the avatar?
Beautiful.
Did you see yourself in the mix there?
Yeah, I did. I was trying to recognize myself. I was trying to picture myself there. But
yeah, you're there right next to Mariah. Mariah's the one who did the voice on it. This is our new introduction to the vlog on the vlog. This is your second appearance on the vlog on the vlog. Your first was an appearance where we talked about one of your songs. Was Dust to Fire, which is, oh my goodness. I think it's the most beautiful theatrical production I have ever seen done in AI. And we celebrated that song. We might even double down and play it again before we're here, because it is. And this time I promise that I won't talk all over it, because that's what I did the last time, is I talked all over it. I made a point when we were first doing this a month or so ago, which was to say that there are things that genuinely inspire me. There are people that genuinely inspire me. And what you did on that song, and we're going to show 3 subsequent songs is how we're going to begin our program, inspired me. I thought that the talent was extraordinary. And I didn't just witness extraordinary talent. I just thought that the graphic video representations that you created for my wife's songs were beyond anything I had witnessed theatrically. But I know well and talk often to the people you work with when you're doing this. To Matt, to Mariah, to Leah, and to Kevin, and to others, and they love you. They just love you. They just think you are the absolute best. Every time that your name comes up, they smile and just say, "Dipo's the best." So let's begin, before we play the first song, just a little bit of your background, Dipo, because you didn't just show up on our doorstep. You actually found us in a very far away place, a place I have been to, but a long time ago. And you now call America home, but that's not where your life began.
Yeah. Yes, I'm originally from Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. I moved in here, like less than 10 years ago. So back home, I've always been like, my story is like someone that is that feels like he has been fed lies, through religion, through a whole lot, and that that was looking for the truth. So that's pretty much my story. I was actually actively trying to get the truth, and I was searching, and that's how I came across YAHOWAH.com.
Yeah, you came across YAHOWAH when you were in Nigeria.
Yes, back in Nigeria, yes.
Yeah. And so we did have an international reach in this regard, and Nigeria is an interesting place, and that some 2/3 of the population are deeply religious Christian, and they do have some interesting twists on Christianity, but it's very deeply rooted in Christianity. And about 1/3 of the population are Muslims. And there's been an enormous amount of tension with Boko Haram and other Muslim groups preying upon and abducting particularly Christian girls and raping them and enslaving them. So it is a tough place. And it was actually a place that was bombed by Satan here a few months back, where Donald Trump wanted to endear himself to Twisted MAGAs and pretend that he was the big protector of the Christian religion. And so he went off and bombed places in Nigeria, claiming that he was protecting Christians. When I can assure you, you're not going to protect a Christian by bombing Nigeria. And of course, the reason he was actually doing it is the same reason that America destabilized and imposed regime change in Libya, which is Nigeria was actually beginning to speak up and saying, you know, there are better alternatives than being a servant of the United States and having to kowtow to all of the United States demands vis-a-vis selling oil and other resources in dollar-denominated currency. And we would do a better job of taking care of the people of Nigeria if we were open to other options. And the United States doesn't like that. And when you try to sell oil or any commodity on the world market in a currency other than dollar denominated, they did what they do to Iran. They do what they did to Iraq. They do what they did to Russia. They do what they did to Nigeria. And Libya, of course, was the worst example, because Muammar Gaddafi went one step further. He didn't just say we can do it in another currency. Muammar Gaddafi said, on behalf of Africa, I'm going to create a gold-backed currency, and so that our continent can be independent of all of these people who want to rob us of our resources. So that's my interpretation of what happened there. What was the overall thought in Nigeria when Trump did his bombing run?
You know, I wasn't there at the time, so
I know.
yeah, but from what I gathered, the thing is, the Christians, they actually think they are looking for a Messiah, and then they have that Messiah in Trump. So that is actually coming to help.
Of course.
The ones I could talk to, I actually let them know that you guys have to look beyond. This is
Yes.
not what it seems like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for him to be their Messiah that's going to help them against the Muslims, then why was his first trip abroad to 3 Islamic countries? Why does he do business with so many Islamic countries? Why did he invite the heads of the dictators over these Islamic countries to the White House and wine and dine them? Why does he have all these business deals with Islamic countries if, in fact, his intent is to protect Christians against Muslims?
Yeah, it also tells you that, you know, the Christians, they like to, instead of look at the logical, you know, instead of going through logical reasoning, they like to just you know, believe, you know, because it's when you have to read, you know, between the lines. If somebody's telling you something, you have to try and see, do they have, you know, like a different motive? But they just feel someone is coming, you know, to fight, to save them against the Muslims. So
yes.
So a lot of them still believe it. Does it see it that way? A lot of them still don't think anything is wrong. You know. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing how Trump has positioned himself as a messianic figure. That has been the intent of MAGA. That's the intent of the Twistians, is to present him as a messianic figure. Almost all of the promotions that come out of the White House present him as messianic. He's viewed, was until recently, and at the most recent betrayal, he was promoted as a messianic figure in Israel. His most recent betrayal of Israel through signing the Memorandum of Understanding caused most Israelis to recognize he was a fraud. But that is the position, and it's exactly the position we would expect of Satan, as we are now witnessing Satan incarnate in the White House, just as the prophets had foretold. You now live in America. You are an internet developer, and you do have both private practice and also work for a firm, married with kids, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And when did you begin to develop your talent as an AI film producer?
That is actually when I felt I needed to do something. I have been following you, like I said, way back. I came across YAHOWAH.com like 20 years ago, and I've been reading your books. I've been, like going through all the books on the site, and at some point, I was just in the background. I was just reading the books. At some point, I just felt, okay, let me see what I can do. I went back on the site. I started checking how can I, do something. I thought about creating a site myself, and still talking about getting information from YAHOWAH.com, and just like you had Bless Yah, like you had YAHOWAH Berit. I wanted to create mine, but I felt we can all have different sites, so it's okay. But what else can I do? So I joined. I started coming onto Blog Talk Radio. I was listening to you on Blog Talk Radio also for a long time, and I was just waiting. I'm actually an introvert, so I don't I don't mix that much. But I was just waiting and saying, okay, maybe one of these days I would be able to do something. So each time I come, I just listen to you, and when the issue of the Mother Goddess cult, when their issue happened, was, and then you said they left, the people that were handling everything left. I just felt, okay, maybe this is the time. I think the first time I actually made any input was sometime when one guy recorded himself burning one of your books. There was one clip like that you showed, and then one guy was burning your clips, and then you said, "Look at what somebody is doing," and I responded that if he likes, he can burn the entire books, but the people that are I can't remember how I said it, that the people that know the truth will not be deterred by that. So that was my response. And I think you responded back. You actually liked the comments, and that was my first input. So I was just following and hoping to get to do something.
That makes me very sad, very happy, and very happy. The part that makes me sad, Dipo, is that you have been reading these books and have grown and benefited from them for 20 years, and I've only known you for a year. I feel like we lost 19 years, and I think that those would have been marvelous communications and times, and so I wish that I knew you sooner. So we have an eternity together, but I do regret not getting to know you sooner. The positive, the first positive, is that out of the betrayal of that mother goddess cult that decided they would run away and speak for their mother god that doesn't exist, and then become vile in their approach to everything. One of the things that it did that was so spectacular is it was like God saying, we got too much to accomplish. This is not the right team. We need a clean house. And that's when Kevin and Rich and Barry and you and it's just a list of so many wonderful people became known to us. I don't even recall corresponding to Kevin prior to that. I don't recall corresponding with Rich prior to that. And so it was this thing that you could look at as being so bad turned out to be the ultimate good.
Yeah.
So you were one of the beneficiaries. We are a beneficiary of that. How about that? I think we're all beneficiaries. I think you benefit. I think we benefit. I think it's a mutual benefit.
Yes.
The other thing that I will say is that, well, this may not have corresponded with your decision. It sounds like you made the decision before I said this. So you did it on your own initiative. That's even better. But about 6-7 months ago, when I changed Kevin's life by coming up with the idea we should have a family page, and that everybody that was in the covenant should find a way to make a contribution, because this is the way that we show God that we're trustworthy, that we are someone whose soul he can take into 7 dimensions and go explore the universe, and most importantly, trust to raise the mortal remnant that survives, that we're people he would trust with that kind of power. And it's hard to earn that kind of trust without actually earning it and to do something. And so I came with the idea, let's all, everybody start making, whether it's a vlog or find a place that you can make a contribution, and don't ask somebody to tell you what to do. And don't use the excuse, well, I'm not computer literate. I'm not an artist. I'm not a good speaker. Don't use, I'm an introvert. Don't use anything as an excuse. There's so much that can be done. Find a spot and do something positive. And of course, it has generated that family page, which will, it's still up, but from the link that we have to it, as opposed to direct from the site. Joe is revamping the site with a much more robust administration tool. And so when that's done sometime in a week from now, I think the family page will be live on the website. But it is a beautiful thing. And your contribution has, if you participate here on the blog, has been in the graphics of the songs that you've created. So this was a skill set that you developed in concert with doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much, because I've been used to, as a developer, I've had to do, I've had to design stuff, and but not necessarily. I did when I started. What I did was actually to create some videos on. I was trying to teach people how to code, how to write programs. So I did it like a cartoon kind of series.
Oh, okay.
So
like an avatar doing programming.
Yeah, so I did that, and so that's actually how I started. And then I was doing that. I was posting it, and then I just said, yeah, I can do this, because there is a lot of information on YAHOWAH.com, and I said I can actually just adapt this, and I started with on YAHOWAH.com. I started with the timeline. I looked at the timeline page, and I saw that I think I counted about 94, distinct sections. So my original plan was to make like 1-minute videos, graphic videos, telling the story of each one of those timeline points. So that's how I actually started. Yeah.
Okay, I would tell you that if so long as Leah is not listening now, we'll talk softly in case she's listening. Because if I were to pull you away from creating the graphics for the song, I'd be sleeping in the house next door.
You wouldn't eat for a week. Yes,
I would. Yeah, I wouldn't eat for a week, which probably be good for me. But we don't want to upset Leah. Creating videos for the highlights of that timeline, so that some of them are not just graphics, and some of the graphics, by the way, we need to improve. It got like you and Leah and others were creating graphics for the timeline, and we got to a certain point and they just stopped creating them, and I ended up being the one who filled in the remaining graphics, and I have no talent in that area whatsoever. So we do need to finish some of those graphics down the timeline. But if we had a dozen or score of the most interesting moments on that timeline as a video, oh my goodness, it would be so much better. So I would, so long as it's just between the two of us, I would love to see that. Leah is quite jealous of the people that she loves, and so I have to be really quiet here. So we'll speak quietly. But that is a tremendous idea, and it would be greatly appreciated. And I can assure you they'd be incorporated immediately and enjoyed by all. Yeah, in fact, one of the things I'm just on that timeline that trying to get Joe to take that original calendar that he did long ago, that we now have incorporated into the Shana Years volume of YAHOWAH, but to take that calendar and make it, in addition to being in the Shana Years book, but also as a link from the timeline page. You know, we have the counters, but the counter isn't to every individual date that we want to be celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would love to have all of that calendar presented through 2033, and I know he's going to do it one of these days. But I'd love to see it. All right, so with all of this, we're going to start with to Israel. That's the one you want to start with?
Yes.
Okay, and just as an introduction to that song, you and Leah were given a tremendous challenge that is so enormously difficult for that song. And that is that two things. Number one, I wrote the lyrics, and I'm not a songwriter. And I wrote the lyrics with a cadence and with rhyme. So normally, if you're writing lyrics, it's if you're writing like be 5 lines in each refrain of a song, you'll only have 2 of those lines rhyme, and you will make no attempt to have the cadence of the lyrics be somewhat similar. And in what I did, every line of a group of 4, everyone rhymes. And that is not the way you write lyrics for songs. And so that made it difficult to produce a song when it was written as poetry, not as lyrics for a song. The second part is the voice is Yahweh's. And so you can do a lot of voices, but doing God's voice is pretty darn hard. And so since you can't do God's voice, what you're trying to do is come up with a lyricist that is distinct from God, but yet highly credible and still attractive. And so it's this realization you cannot do God's voice, but you're trying to create a voice that's respectful of who he is. And so that made it really difficult. And then you have the challenge that to create every line that ends in a rhyme, there aren't the normal themes that you would have through the refrains of a song. So you're constantly trying to say, all right, I can't create an animation here or a graphic for the one line. So I need to try to figure out what's the theme of this refrain. So both of the songs we're going to play on Yahweh's name, well, they are favorites of mine because I think the message is so vital for Israel to hear, because Israel wrote God out of their lives. They wrote Yahweh's name out of their name. They became Jews as opposed to Yehudim. Yehudim means beloved of Yah. It's Yahweh's name and Dowd's name. And they wrote Yahweh's name out of his Torah and out of their Talmud and really out of their lives. And so restoring Yahweh's name and restoring Dowd's reputation are the 2 most important things we do. And so I love the songs and I love the lyrics because I think they're essential listening and watching for Israel. But I also appreciate the level of challenge that I gave you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something that that needed to be done. I think that's the transcript of that song. I think you You actually read it out sometime.
I did.
One of these shows. Yeah.
I did.
That was before even the song was created, because I
did.
know I read that
Yes.
thing before. So yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah. In fact,
it's a
I've done it
message
twice.
that needs to
I've
be
gone
passed.
through it twice, and
Yeah.
and
It's a message that
obviously,
needs to be passed.
yes. And rather than being my voice speaking on behalf of Yahweh, they've done the song as a real song, which makes it much more emotional and I think powerful. So let's play it. Is there any further introduction you'd like to make before we see it?
Well, I would just say, Israel needs to listen to this, because it's funny that even their prime minister's, name, there is Yah in that name, and they don't.
Yes.
They don't seem to even understand, what that means. So they need to.
Yeah, they need to, and they have come up with all sorts of religious excuses for writing it out of their lives. But they claim to be Torah observant, and yet the third statement on that second tablet says that the negation of Yahweh's name is unforgivable, and to have written it out of their lot, to have replaced it and taken it out of Judaism and out of their name, is committing the offense that is unforgivable in the third statement, Yahweh etched in stone. So there is no return for Israel. God has divorced them. He is in Shamaim, and he is not returning until they return to him. And that return is impossible prior to them embracing his name. That isn't all they need to do, but that is an essential first step, is to embrace his name. It makes it very important. I think this is the one that actually begins with the Paleo-Hebrew inscription on the rock. And the letters, for those who do not know, the original alphabet in Hebrew was a pictographic alphabet, where even if you were not literate, you could make out the meaning of the words by looking at the letters that comprise those words. And Yahweh's name is written right to left as a hand reaching, the arm and hand, the upper arm reaching down, the forearm reaching out with an open hand to us. It's comprised of two individuals that are standing up, reaching up, paying attention to him. The first letter is a yod, which is originally called the yod, which is hand in Hebrew. And the two heys are from the henna, which means to pay attention, to look up, to notice what's happening here. So there are two people looking up, noticing and being observant of God. They are standing on either side of what was drawn as a tent peg. The tent peg was essential during that time because it was what you used to secure the tent, like the tent of the witness, but also the tent that's your home. To enlarge it and secure it was all based on the quality of that tent peg. And looking at the most ancient evidences of that alphabet years ago, and it was just actually a year ago with Joe being here, we refined those letters so that we have a much more accurate depiction of how they were drawn and what they represent. And then what you show, which I think is theatrical magic, is you show the name written in stone, which is what Yahweh did, and then it evaporating it, erasing it, going away. It's very dramatic. And you showed the original settlement that was Jerusalem a long time ago. So, Kevin, would you mind winding it up for us, Disc Master?
Here we go.
YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. When I was your God and Dowd your king, there was a different song to sing. To the Goyim you did not cling. You were shielded from their sting. Isolated and hated, you are battered. Your dreams are shattered, the nation is tattered. My words have not mattered. It is all there in the Mikre. gone astray, they are the way. Join me on Shabua, I say. I have openly conveyed the signs of the modem, from whose brilliance you should beam, and yet all agleam with your own scheme. You have chosen a wholly different team. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. With Dowd as your Messiah, as foretold in Isaiah, you are not a pariah. Have you read Jeremiah? Dowd is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. What a shame. Who served as the lamb, whose blood is on the door jamb? Do you need a diagram? Do you even give a damn? Do you know the son who was given? For what has he striven? How are you to be forgiven? What is your decision? Dowd is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. Have you no shame? This need not be the end of the story. You have been called to glory. To my covenant be a signatory. Respond to this allegory. If you wish to be replevin, let's remove your leaven. It's on the basis of 7 that I can bring you to heaven. So this is the story of my luminaries, even as they have become your adversaries, when they serve as my great emissaries, and with whom I've compiled esteemed libraries. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. Accept my acclaim, embrace my flame, reinstate my name.
I don't know if my first and overall reaction is just simple appreciation, if it's respect, or even deeper love, admiration. We've been doing this for 25 years. I watch something like that and the visuals that support a life of learning. And I realize that is got to be as magnificent a depiction of a life's work that I have ever seen. And it goes beyond just the fact that it is dramatic. The details that support the understanding that we have of Yahweh's name, the fact that everything, the universe, this planet, the covenant, the Torah, humanity, we're all here in support of a single agenda. And that is preparing God's beloved firstborn son to have a kingdom, to inherit his Father's universe. And that is a very difficult concept to convey. And there's so many subtleties in it. And you got every detail right. That requires far more than knowledge. It requires a depth of understanding. So that's why one of my responses is just admiration. I don't get to encounter that all that often. Somebody that has that level of understanding. But that's what you have.
We got all the information from you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I certainly wrote it. I certainly shared it. I everything that you displayed there, I agree with. It's another thing to know that you were successful at sharing what you learned with somebody that it took it right to heart and was able to express it that beautifully. Yeah. So it is a gratefulness of you. You know, you work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 25 years. And you know, it's like this past few days, we've been betrayed by an embittered individual. And last week it was being betrayed by another bitter individual. And sometimes, you know, it's hollow and it's frustrating and it's empty. And you say, oh my God, I mean, these people I was so kind to, tried to do so much for, and to be thanked by them vomiting on me, I really appreciate it. Geesh. But the antithesis of that is you. And that's one of the great gifts to God, to Dowd, to Israel, the covenant family, man. What you did there is magnificent. I do want to play it again, Kevin. I want to talk about a few things that are in that song, because that song does it blends several themes together. The first, of course, is foremost, is that God has a name. It's Yahweh. That name is not in dispute. You cannot write it YHWH, and you cannot write it in Hebrew unless you're writing it in modern Hebrew and phonetically. The pronunciation of it is exceedingly easy to deduce based on the verb haya. Haya tells you how to pronounce 3 of the 4 letters. And it was delineated to us in a book called the Torah. And the O in Torah is from the wall. Pretty much answers that question, doesn't it? And if you didn't, then go tell somebody shalom and consider where the O sound comes from in shalom, and you pretty much got it resolved. Now, the fact is that I took 2 to 3 weeks of my life and I examined every Hebrew word, and that included the yod, the hey, and the wah, and made a complete analysis of every word and every name in Hebrew and the legacy of those names to deduce the proper pronunciation of it and prove it. And that is in an introduction to God. But the simple truth is it's Yahweh. Leah has subsequently caused the voice that she's cultivated for these songs in the last 2 or 3 songs to get the pronunciation correct. In this song, it's not great. It's YAHOWAH in this song, and that is incorrect because the yod makes an E sound in English as it does in Hebrew, and the ah sound is from the hey. The O sound is from the wah, and then the ah sound is from the hey. And so when you combine the hey and the wah together to get how, you're actually mispronouncing the name. So it'd be YAHOWAH. But you'll still notice that I'll tear up at the song and love the song. I'm going to make the note of this. But this notion that we shouldn't pronounce God's name for fear of mispronouncing it is ludicrous. Who did Yahweh use to introduce his name to his people and to the world?
That was
Moshe.
Moshe claimed to have one disadvantage, didn't he? He said he had one disability. What was that disability?
Stutters.
Yes, he said he had a thick tongue, which means he didn't pronounce words correctly. So we want to put those 2 things together? I mean, it doesn't take a genius to make that connection. Could God have chosen a man who stammered, who had a thick tongue, to introduce his name to the world if his concern was it not being pronounced perfectly?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So that lie just goes away by the very fact that Yahweh chose a man who said that my diction isn't great to introduce his name. Yes. So that is the reason why I have no issue with it being slightly mispronounced. because I know we would, and we have made the effort to correct that. And God wants it spoken. And if it's for his point of view, it's a billion times better to have it spoken and to have the hey linked to the wah than it is to have it not spoken. And I think that one of the worst things that we're having now is to have so many religious buffoons out there, and we've seen it all over. Now, going back to writing YHWH, that's completely invalid.
Yes.
You can write God's name in Hebrew, or you can transliterate it in English. You are not transliterating it when you write YHWH. It is inexcusable, and it is erasing Yahweh's name. It is in direct conflict with the instruction that God gave us. By the way, guess who just walked in the room? So we may be in the doghouse talking about the timeline. But don't tell her. She might not have been listening to that part of the show. She's chuckling over there. The second part of the song that I want to talk about is this integration of Yahweh and Dowd. And that was the interesting thing. I took the chorus of that song, and it was, you erase my name, and speaking of Yahweh. But then it transitions to being Dowd. And we make Dowd as important in that song as is Yahweh. Because from our point of our existence, he is. Mm-hmm. We don't exist without him. He was Adam. He was Shem. He is the firstborn, the Messiah, the Savior. The most popular religion on earth today exists by robbing Dowd of his titles, his achievements, and his everything. And, it's just this great crime. And by reestablishing Dowd, we're doing something that makes God even happier than reestablishing his name. Mm-hmm. And this is something Israel must come to embrace. They claim to have a star of David or a shield of David, and there is no such thing. It's an absolute pagan lie. They need to drop the star, embrace the menorah, and the one that's over my head here, it's the 7-candle menorah, not the 9. And embrace Yahweh's name and recognize that we're all here because God had a firstborn. It's Dowd. And Dowd is the Messiah. He is the former king. He is the returning king. He is the one who suffered crucifixion in 33 CE, fulfilling Pesach. And then he fulfilled Matzah by taking our guilt and depositing it in Sheol. And he became the Bakor, firstborn of Bakorim, firstborn children. And I think that the juxtaposing of those two realities, those two names, and what do you get when you combine Yahweh and Dowd?
Dowd.
I wish it went from your lips to the ears of all Israel. There's no such thing as a Jew. It's a made-up name. What Jew does is erase Yahweh's name and Dowd's name from their name. You want to have the shield of Dowd in your lives? Go back to your real name. You are Yehud. And Yehud is a combination of Yahweh's name and Dowd's name. And it's one of the most profound insights you are ever going to consider. It makes you the beloved of Yah. And there is no return until you become Yehud again. As we were playing it, you've heard some of my thoughts on it. You have another thought, Dipo, before we play it again?
Yes. I have a couple.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad I asked. I am. I'm glad I asked.
So the first will be the pronunciation of Yahweh's name.
Yes.
Now, for people that are saying, that I want to go with that argument that it's YHWH, just read, read your books, read the passages.
Yes.
You could see, God saying my name. He says my name. Now, if he had given out those words as just YHWH, will he call that my name?
No.
Because That's a very easy way to look at it. It's like
Yes.
looking at your name and just picking out only the consonants and say, okay, that's my name. It
Constantly,
doesn't
God
work.
is telling us to pronounce his name, to share his name, to call out in his name. And he never once says, I want you to use the tetragrammaton, and I want you to write these initials as something that is unspoken as a placeholder for my name. Never once. So why do people do it? That's profound.
Yes. And, and then the pronunciation, for someone that has been reading, your books before actually listening to you, when I first saw the name, like I said, one of the issues I had with the Bible was they mentioned the Lord, they mentioned God. Now, when you read the context of what they're talking about, they are talking about, at times they're talking about the same person, at times they're talking about two different people. So I've always wanted to know, okay, so what is God's name? Because God says, my name, don't,
Hisham,
you
over and over
understand?
again.
Yeah, he keeps saying that. So what is that name? So when I saw it in your book, I saw, and I pronounced it YAHOWAH. That's actually how I pronounced it, YAHOWAH. So the first time I listened to you on Blood Talk, that's actually what I wanted to hear. That how are you actually pronouncing this? So that's what I wanted to hear. And then I see that it was actually kind of close. So I said, okay, YAHOWAH, okay.
Yeah, your pronunciation of mine are the same.
Yeah.
And it is the single most important theme throughout the Torah, prophets, and Psalms is Yahweh's name, and it is never presented to represent with 4 English letters or even 4 Hebrew letters. It's to say it. And one of the ways that you can tell that God is not uptight, beyond that he had Moshe, who had a speech impediment, introduce his name to us, that he does not view his name as sacred or as something that he would be upset if you represented incorrectly, is that he interwove his name into the name of his people. And his people, they treated him like crap.
Yeah.
They are Yehud, and that's what it means. Yahweh and Dowd and beloved of Yah. And look at all of the other people who have Yahweh's name: Zachariah, Yasha, Yah, Yoel, Yah is God, Elia, God is Yahweh. And it's just on and on with all of the names that include Yahweh's name, including the names of all the books we've written. They're all Yahweh. Those are great points, Dipo. Kevin, let's just go ahead and play it again, because it is such a profound message, and it reinforces these themes. And now with Dipo's and my introduction to it, or summation of it, let's play it one more time, and then we'll go to the second song.
YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. When I was your God and Dowd your king, there was a different song to sing. To the Goyim you did not cling. You were shielded from their sting. Isolated and hated, you are battered. Your dreams are shattered, the nation is tattered. My words have not mattered. It is all there in the Mikra. There is no reason to have gone astray. They are the way. Join me on Shabuah, I say. I have openly conveyed the signs of the Modim, from whose brilliance you should beam, and yet all agleam with your own scheme. You have chosen a wholly different team. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. with Dowd as your Messiah, as foretold in Isaiah. You are not a pariah. Have you read Jeremiah? Dowd is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. What a shame. Who served as the lamb, whose blood is on the door jamb? Do you need a diagram? Do you even give a damn? Do you know the son who was given? For what has he striven? How are you to be forgiven? What is your decision? Dowd is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. Have you no shame? This need not be the end of the story. You have been called to glory. To my covenant be a signatory. Respond to this allegory. If you wish to be replevin, let's remove your leaven. It's on the basis of 7 that I can bring you to heaven. So this is the story of my luminaries, even as they have become your adversaries, when they serve as my great emissaries, and with whom I've compiled esteemed libraries. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. Accept my acclaim, embrace my flame, reinstate my name.
Dipo, my friend, we could talk about the elements of that song and do 10 of these shows, maybe 100 of these shows. There are just a few more highlights I want to mention, if you don't mind. One is when it says, "You fled my flame." What that's speaking of is when Yahweh was conveying the opening book of the Torah to Moshe on top of Mount Choreb, which is the very place he introduced his name to Moshe. He told Moshe to, then when he goes down the mountain, give the children of Israel 3 days to get their act together, get all cleaned up, get prepared, because while it was just going to be a projection of Yahweh's light and voice, it nonetheless would be a lot for them to process. And so he gave them 3 days to get ready for it. And he did exactly that. He demonstrated his light before them and the resonance of his voice. What was Israel's response?
Go away.
He told him to go away. Told God to shut up, go away. We never want to hear from you or see you again. It's one of the most tragic statements ever made. Jews don't want to tell you that. But the fact is, that's what happened on Mount Choreb. They hadn't even left Mount Choreb yet. And they told God to go away, to shut up. They never wanted to see him or hear from him again. So, God's response to that was, I agree. I agree, that's best. And he said, I agree that's best for 2 reasons. One of them is he had no interest in being around them either. They were obnoxious. God saves you from certain death, slavery, and a country that is abusing you like this, perpetrating genocide and apartheid on you. And he saves you from it. And this is what you do. Why would you want to spend time with those people? The second reason is that God already had a plan. He had already deployed the plan numerous times. He did the plan with Chinook. He did the plan with Noach. In fact, the plan was in play with Amram and Jochebed with Moshe's birth, and was materialized with Eldad and my Dowd during Moshe's meltdown. God already had a plan. And God's plan was, I have souls that I can work with. I can rely on. I enjoy these souls, and I'm going to redeploy these souls. And that was his plan. Now, how does that bring us to today? Is because, well, God has redeployed 2 of those souls to create the homecoming for the soul that he cares the most about, that of his beloved son, Dowd. This time, it has to resonate with enough people for there to be 2 harvests and for them to be a mortal remnant. And so this time, those 2 individuals can't do it alone. I don't care how dedicated they are. God needs to have a family of souls that are engaged, devoted, consistent, mature, responsible, reliable, that he can count on. You're one of those souls. We're going to play this song, Dipo, on the YAHOWAH Jumbotron. In the book of, I don't know if it's Yoel or is it in, I think it's in Yoel, could be Zachariah. There is a depiction of a very large, 30-foot long Jumbotron. Essentially, it's a movie screen, but it's no screen. It's just going to appear in the sky. That's going to convey these songs and I think significant portions of the Torah, prophets, and Psalms, and analysis in YAHOWAH that's going to support what we're going to be saying. And I picture you and I just standing arm in arm right there with that plane above our heads.
That's good.
That's the picture. And I picture a whole lot of smiling faces. Not so much in the audience, but they might be throwing sticks and stones at us. But and the people that matter, I see a lot of smiling faces. I see one of those smiling faces is God's, the other one's Dowd. So that's one point I wanted to make. The other point I wanted to make is that it is Israel that robbed Dowd of his notoriety. They claim God can't have a son. They claim that there's another Messiah, that Dowd doesn't qualify as the Messiah. God says the opposite. They expect somebody else to return, and God says Dowd is returning. But the most important thing is there is no way for them to have salvation. Where are you going to get your salvation? You write Dowd out of your lives. There is no way to receive it because he fulfilled Yisak, Matzah, and Bakurim, which opens the doorway to life, removes guilt from our souls, and brings us into the covenant family. So without Dowd, there is no salvation. And then the other theme that I wanted to mention is that Jews who lie, all of them, about being Torah observant, every single one of them. There are Jews now in the covenant family who don't. They are now Yehud, so they're not Jews. So my statement is actually accurate. Say that they are celebrating the Jewish holidays, but they aren't Jewish holidays. They're Yahweh's Moedim, restoring witnesses of the eternal testimony. And they begin the year with a 7-day observance of Passover, but Passover is not 7 days, it's 1 day. And it's matzah that is 7 days. And they completely ignore matzah, and matzah is more important than Passover. Passover without matzah is detrimental. It means your soul would be eternal and eternally corrupted with religious guilt, and therefore eternally separated from God. That's Sheol. They don't celebrate Bakurim either. They don't even know what it means. And then they celebrate Purim based upon the lie of Esther. Mm-hmm. And they have their version of Ashura Day. And then they have this counting of the Omar and haven't a clue what Shavuot represents, that it's a harvest of standing grain, and that it's fulfilled in 2 stages, one of which was just happened here 2 months ago with the beginning of the time of Israel's troubles, and the next will be the harvest. They replaced Teruah with a Babylonian holiday of Rosh Hashanah, ahead of the Babylonian New Year. They call it the beginning of the High Holy Days. Holy in Hebrew means diseased. And the beginning of the year, and according to YAHOWAH, is in Abib. And the 14th of Abib is when we celebrate Pesach. And then they turned Yom Kippurim, the day of reconciliations, into a day of affliction. And I don't think you can reconcile a relationship by being afflicted or by afflicting someone else. And then they turned Sukkah, which is to camp out with YAHOWAH as we return to the garden, into a celebration of a wrinkly, ugly, sour fruit and 4 species. It is just an abomination as to what they have done. And they pretend to speak for God when they're doing nothing but annoying God. So Israel, you really need to take to heart Leah and Dipo's song. That's actually Craig, Leah, and Dipo's songs. She wrote the score, I wrote the lyrics, and you created the graphics. But it's a collective effort.
And I think the Jews, I think they actually know some of these things, but it's probably because of coming from that time of Aaron. They just feel they need to argue. They need to look at God's words in a different way. Because from my own experience, I had the last company I worked with in Nigeria before leaving. They're actually Israelites. And I was there for a long time. I was like 7 years working with them. So I see that they actually know that, for instance, Christianity is false. They know.
Yeah.
They know
every pastor I ever reached out to and talked about that every aspect of Christianity is false, and every pastor knew it.
Yeah, they know.
They all know it's a lie.
Yeah, but I think it's just them wanting to maybe project themselves as maybe equal to God or whatever.
Yeah, that's what rabbis are doing. Well, they won't mention God's name, but they sure write their name into their Talmud, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. All that is.
Yeah,
all that is true. Okay, our next song is going to be the song of Ruth and Boaz. I have gained a new appreciation for the story of Ruth and Boaz that I had not previously considered until this last 7 days. The last 7 days, I have been trying to complete my translation of Isaiah YAHOWAH 10 because God told me it was the prelude to the Choder chapter, which is the most powerful prophecy perhaps ever written among the prophets, in YAHOWAH 11. And I just said, I want you to go back to 10, rewrite it, because it's going to explain the situation and the time that you as the Choder are being deployed, and you need to know your role, and people need to know what to expect. So it is the environment that you're being deployed. And you get towards the end of the 10th chapter of YAHOWAH 10, and it's a journey through towns. And the theologians would tell you that the towns that are mentioned are where the Assyrians, with an army of 185,000 warriors, were bivouacked or that were passing through. But that can't be true. And the reason that cannot be true is that the towns that are mentioned are first and foremost in the hills and the valleys north of Jerusalem. Lachish was the last town in Yehudah that Sennacherib and the Assyrians assaulted with a long siege. It is southwest of Jerusalem. And it's in the valleys where there is plenty of food for a large army and vast spaces for a large army. You don't go from southwest of Jerusalem to due north of Jerusalem and cramp a army in narrow valleys where there is no food, where there is hardly even a shrub, and where you're constantly subject to ambush, where your numbers are a liability rather than an asset. It's not possible. It'd be saying the Assyrians became the world superpower at the time by being really stupid. And the other thing would be an army marches, the trained armies of the day marched 7 miles in 3 to 4 hours. And the places where he begins to depict them are 6.5 miles north of Jerusalem. That's a 3 to 4 hour march. Are you going to write a prophecy about the positioning of an enemy that's come to annihilate Jerusalem when they're 3 hours away from knocking on the door?
Not much of a prophecy.
Not much of a prophecy. The ink wouldn't be dry before they'd be knocking at the door.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
No, it's Captain Obvious. So no, that didn't happen. And there's like 20 names, maybe 25 names. So I decided to do what I've always done. I thought that the names would tell a story and that the actual story was in the names. So I translated every name and I linked them all together to convey a message that was pertinent to our time, which is the time that the prophecy is being written. And every one after another, you say, boy, this will be the next one. This one will trip me up. I'm going to have to admit that I finally run into a roadblock here, but nope, they just get better and better. So what that leads me to is the emphasis on a town called Geba. And Geba probably doesn't mean anything to many people. You ever heard of Geba?
Maybe. Is that Geba or Gibbon or something? Is it Geba?
It's Geba. Yeah, Geba. Yeah, it's written two different ways with I think it's an ain at the end of it, and the other one's with the hay at the end of it. Or with the hay at the end of it after you have the ain. That's two different ways. Geba is the worst story in the history of Israel. The story of what happened in Geba is told in the 19th chapter of Shaphat Judges. And it ends with a civil war based upon what happened in Geba. And that's the last word of the book of Shaphat Judges. Now I'm going to tell you what happened. And then I'm going to tell you what is the next word that we find from YAHOWAH after the book of Shaphat Judges. Do you know what it is?
No. That's talking about the part.
We're talking about your song now. I'm introducing your song. What do you think the next word that YAHOWAH spoke after the book of Judges ends?
He said he's going to give them Kinsman Redeemer.
In other words, the remedy for what happened in Geba is in the book of Ruth. You go from one word to the next, the last chapters of Shaphat Judges to the opening chapter of Ruth, and one breath to the next. All right, so what happened in Geba? It starts also in Bethlehem, which is the featured town, isn't it, of the song that Leah's song that you created the graphics and visuals for. That transpires in Bethlehem, although it actually begins in Moab. And the story that takes place in Geba actually begins in Ephraim, and the man goes to Bethlehem. So both are stories that began outside of Bethlehem with the journey to Bethlehem, and then leaving Bethlehem. And this is a man who's a Loi, and he has a paramour, a concubine, which means that he has more than one wife, and this wife has lower status than another wife, is what it means. So she's either paramour or concubine, whichever one you want to say, and she felt that what was good for the goose was good for the gander. In other words, if he had multiple sex partners, why not her? So she solicits some other man And when she does that, she says, that can get me in a lot of trouble here. This is kind of in this community. So she ran home to Dad in Bethlehem, and Dad took her back in. And so the Lowy went down there to get her back. And the man who was the father of this woman, who was both presented as a prostitute and as a paramour or concubine, is overjoyed by the Lowy arriving, thinks, this would be, get this woman out of my hair. Now she's unsalvageable because she's no longer a virgin, and she's now associated with prostitution. Oh my God, you got this guy that wants to take you. And he wined and dined him and said, absolutely. He was having a celebration of getting rid of his daughter. But most people don't understand why he was so ecstatic about this, but that was the reason. It was selfishness, not genuineness, because the man, the Lowy, was a creep. He was a real creep. I mean, creep with the capital K. How about that? He then walked back with her. He's got an R with him that we never hear from in the story. We just announced that he's there. And he has which is a very loud-spoken person that doesn't take garbage lightly, doesn't suffer fools well. And he has a couple of donkeys, asses with him. And they are heading back to Ephraim, to the hill country of Ephraim. And they are passing through places, and they decide that they're going to spend the night in Geba. And when they get to Geba, no one will offer him any hospitality, so they're out there in the courtyard. And a man comes from the fields, who is also from the area of Ephraim, and he decides that he would take them in. And you say, oh, well, there's a good Samaritan there. What a lovely story. No, he's a scoundrel with a capital scoundrel. They eat and drink and have a good time that night, and the residents of Geba, they're Benjamites, they start pounding down the door, and they want to rape the old man that's the Lowy. They're pounding down the door because they want to rape the Lowy. And so the man who owns the home in Geba goes out to him and said, no, that's a disgusting thing. It's reprehensible what you're trying to do. Absolutely unacceptable. Stop it. Instead, I have a virgin daughter. Take her. Go rape my virgin daughter. You can do anything you want to her. And this man came with his paramour. Rape her too. Abuse her as much as you want to abuse her. That'll be just fine. So after they've put on their Muslim garb, the Lowy. We're familiar with the word. Wookie is guarding the house. Wookie, please. It's the mail lady that has come, and Wookie is, boss man. You don't come to my house.
I thought he just liked the Lowy. He just liked the Lowy. Let me tell you about the Lowy.
Yeah, he's barking at. We have the nicest male lady. They are just absolute sweethearts on this island. So anyway, so you're familiar with the term shazak. It means to be firm, to be even harsh. Twice it's used in conjunction with the Lowy. But it wasn't against the community of Benjamites banging the door, trying to rape him. It was towards his woman, this woman who was his paramour. He grabbed her that way, and he hurled her out to the street, where she was raped to death. Well, he went back in the house and slept. In the morning, she has managed to crawl back to the threshold of the house, has her hand on the threshold, and she's dead. She's been raped to death. Tried to get back in the house, and they were all asleep. They couldn't be bothered. He decides he wants now to go off and leave for the high country of Ephraim. He opens the door, sees her there, and says, stand up. I want to walk. Get up. Let's get going. No, I'm sorry. No. Are you okay? And she's dead. And he tosses her on the back of his ass, takes her back to the high country of Ephraim, where he dismembers her, cuts her into 12 pieces, and distributes those 12 pieces around Israel. And it prompts a civil war in Israel. And it's called the most despicable act that had ever been witnessed among Israelites. What the story says, and the reason it is brought up in the 10th chapter of YAHOWAH, is that what God is saying is that my people haven't changed. This is still who they are. From the Lowy to the man who attempted to show some hospitality as fathers, as husbands. This is how they treat people. And what he's doing is trying to set the parameters so that we have an appreciation of what we're up against. You may have noticed in the last month or so that my demeanor has changed in these programs. I'm not soliciting anybody. And I am no longer accommodating at all. I know what we're up against. I know what is being asked of us. I know who we're going to have to deal with. And this is a situation where if you're not real, you don't belong. It's got to be men and women of backbone and character, or not at all. The last thing I want to be doing with all we have to endure is to have any one of us looking over our shoulders wondering if somebody's trying to undermine us from the back. This is what we're up against. He's trying to set the parameters on what our expectations should be for that final remnant. And what he's telling us is there was no one, not a soul within Israel that he could work with that could save Israel from themselves. That's what he's telling us. And that is why you turn the page and you've got this Amma who comes from Moab. And she gives the greatest speech of all time. And then she announces that she is the Amma. She is the most productive of mothers. She's going to give new life to Israel. And then she announces she's going to deliver the kinsman redeemer in conjunction with Boaz. And so you went from a sexually perverted story to the most sensuous love story of all of God's stories. You go from hate to love. You go from isolation to redemption. One page to the next. That, my friend, is the basis for the story of Ruth and Boaz. That Leah created the score, most of the lyrics based upon my translations, but she created the score and it's beautiful. And you created the graphics. I'm here to tell you it's one of the most important stories ever told. That's my introduction to your song.
Okay. Good.
Let's play it and we'll have Dipo make. You have a comment before we begin, Dipo?
Yes. That's
Okay.
actually my first song on this. That's the first song.
That was the first one you did.
And interestingly, I did it around the time of Shabuah.
Wow.
It was around that time. I did it. I stayed awake. I needed to, finish this. I think it was Kevin that he played a video, and then I think he made the video and then he played it. It was one cartoonish kind of video, and then I think Leah said, maybe you said, anyone that wants to make videos for the songs can, they're welcome. And that was my first take. It was around Shabuah.
And you volunteered. How did you find Leah directly? How were you introduced to Leah? Because she's an introvert too,
Yes. Okay. So the story actually starts from Kevin. Around that time, that the breakup happened, and then, like I said, initially I was looking for what I wanted to do, and I'm a developer, so I was looking at the site. You said the guy is handling the site left, so I actually wanted to, step into
God,
that.
I wish I had known that.
I actually wanted to step into that, and then I think Joe came on board.
Yes.
And
Joe came back around.
Yes.
And he's been marvelous.
Yes. And then I think a couple of maybe months after that, Kevin said, anyone that feels they can do anything, they should just send me your details if you can contribute anything. And that's how it all started. I sent Kevin my details, and he said, okay, I'll get it across to Leah and Craig, and they will get back to you. So that's how it started. So Leah called me. I think after that, we had a discussion for a long time, like 2 hours. Yeah. So and
wow, 2 hours between introverts. That's something.
Yeah. And I could see that she is really very, very knowledgeable, and the discussion was just flowing, and and that's it. After that, I think a couple of weeks after that, she asked me to work on the on Kirk's glossary.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I worked on the glossary. I put it together. I know a lot of people worked on it, but I think I was probably the last person that worked on it. Generated because I saw that we had the most of the information that is needed in Excel, and we needed to go to Strong's site, and confirm some things, the Strong's numbers, and check, and then generate that into a Word document that had all of the glossary. So I actually did that. That was the first time I did.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we've still got an issue with that, and Perry's trying to deal with it on and off, and that is when we're doing the superscripts. The program that Joe wrote to create the superscripts for the book has about a 50% accuracy, so it's certainly not working. I think the superscripts are a great idea, but we either have to go back to the apostrophes or get it right, and we got to figure out a better way to get it right. And it's not easy because the transliterations of words, there are some 20 Hebrew words that are transliterated identically, but their meaning is very different if it's an aleph or an ain, and so it's not an easy task. So it's still something that needs to be programmed such that we can deal with the program the overall result, and then deal with the discrepancies in a different way. And it's about that time, Dipo, that I started hearing Dipo this, Dipo that. Oh, you can't believe what Dipo did. I'm talking to Dipo. No, I'm working with Dipo. No, you can't have Dipo. I'd like to meet this Dipo fellow. No, you can't. He's mine. You were being coveted by many people. So yes, that's when I began to hear your name, and in fact, I even sent you a message on the YAHOWAH saying that I'm hearing a lot about you, pal. I would certainly like to meet you sometime. Is there a way we can get together? And I want to celebrate the song that you had written, which was Dust to Fire. Anyway, let's play. Unless you have another thought on Ruth before we go.
No. Okay. Yeah. Let me just mention that on the glossary project, that was also the first time I met Moya. We spoke on phone as well.
Oh yeah, she's a sweetheart, isn't she?
Yeah. So
she's a go-getter, man. I wouldn't want to cross that woman. She also is one that knows her material. She in fact, knows is not the right term with Mariah. She understands. She really understands this material.
Yeah. So she gave me the details about the glossary. This is what we have to do.
Yes.
And,
Wow. Okay. So let's let her spin there, Spinmeister.
When hunger called and hope wore thin, she came to glean where grain grew. A woman of measure, steadfast and true. Through grain and sun, through toil and need, she walked in trust, she learned to heed. And in the wind that moved the wheat, she found a shelter strong and complete. I will go where you go, where you settle I will remain. Your people be my people, let your Elohim remember my name. Where you are, a memorial will be there. I will go where you call me, to the family for Dowd's sake, for the one who redeems and gathers us in YAHOWAH's name. YAHOWAH's name. Boaz stood as a tower of strength, kindness measured wide in length. He saw the gleaner in the field, and by his word her fear was healed. He spread his wings of cover and shown her peace, a covenant of quiet release. And over grain and overnight, he turned her labor into light. I will go where you go, where you settle I will remain. Your people be my people, let your Elohim remember my name. Where you are, a memorial will be there. I will go where you call me, to the family for Dowd's sake, for the one who redeems and gathers us in YAHOWAH's name. Was written, not in ease but in returning, not in taking but in giving, not in distance but in drawing near. Through thirst, through hunger, through the harvest, through the field and the promise, through YAHOWAH's family and the strong one who sows the grain. The kinsman come in thunder, let the covenant be like a rainbow scene. Let YAHOWAH's name be lifted bodily, bright and clear, pure and clean. For Dowd sings of knowing and healing, of a father who calls us near. And Ruth with Boaz stands as a witness, love made flesh and truth made clear. I will go where you go, where you settle I will remain. Your people be my people, let your Elohim remember my name. Where you are, a memorial will be there. I will go where you call me, to the family for Dowd's sake, for the one who redeems and gathers us in YAHOWAH's name.
Following the story of what happened to Geba, with the Benjamites raping the woman to death and the Lawi being a louse, the man who owned the house offering his daughter being reprehensible, the Benjamites being reprehensible, the whole nation going to civil war, there wasn't a single Yehud that God could speak through, not a single Yisraelite. To the appearance of Boaz in Bethlehem, it's very much like the fallen nature of man and the fallen. And the insertion of Noach. This was a crisis moment. And so this whole book is about that crisis and about the Gaal, the Redeemer. Someone had to redeem these people. And the story is of Ruth and Boaz serving in that role. And they would not only be redeemers, they would deliver the Redeemer multiple times, 3 times, as a matter of fact. And so it is really powerful how the whole thing plays out. I think that had Leah waited for me to finish my translation of it, which is deeply emotional, it's sexual, and it's harsh as well. There are some statements by Naomi on the way into town that are reprehensible, and statements by the sages of Bethlehem that are equally disgusting. Yet the love between these two and the promise they delivered soars above it all. It's a story that no one considers that is the pivotal story of the Torah. And just to show you God's position on the whole thing, there's a title on one of the columns of the house of Yahweh's name, which is called the temple. And there's only one name on it. And it's not actually Yahweh's name that's on the house.
Home for Yahweh's name?
Family.
Yeah.
It's not Yahweh's name. There's only one name on it. It's Boaz. Because Boaz made it possible for the restoration of Dowd's relationship with Yahweh, so that he made it possible for Dowd to fulfill the Moedim of Pesach, Matzah, and Bikurim. And so that's why his name is there. So that's the man that you were writing about, and the woman who was singing. I think pardon?
I said he's the recurring one, it's the one that's
he is the recurring one. In fact, we didn't go there until we were into the last word picture, 31st Mashal. And it became obvious that that's how God was solving all of these problems, is that he had recurring ones. He had, there were 5 men, 4 men and 1 woman that would reoccur throughout the timeline. And that is how he resolved the most formidable crises that humanity would suffer. And that's why this story is told at this time. They were resolving the calamity of Israel had melted down and wasn't even going to exist. They were in the midst of a civil war over a despicable act. And so the answer was Boaz and Ruth. I think if Leah had waited for me to have finished that translation, she probably would not have written the line, "May your Elohim remember my name," for a couple of reasons. One is that she is the central woman in God's story, so God obviously knows her name. And her name isn't really all that important. Her role is, and her titles are. In fact, if you look at Dowd, his name is a title. You look at Boaz, with strength, his name is a title. Ruth is a title, it's shepherdess.
I think it works with the word Shem, because Shem is more than just name; it is reputation. It is all things pertaining to.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Yes, may your Elohim remember my Shem, my reputation, because that is true. And the other part of it is that there really is nothing more difficult than being named in God's story. God's story, you're going to get slaughtered, you're going to get literally crucified, and you're going to have a chance to go to hell. It's
and everyone will hate you.
Yeah, and everyone will hate you. So not everyone, but 99.9999% will hate you. Even those you've tried to help will hate you. So being named in this story is not.
I can say I can
Yeah.
say that I'm probably not the only one in the Covenant family that is ducking most of the time. Whenever you, hey, guess what I found? Nope. I don't
Nope,
care
nope.
what you. It's not me. I don't. Not me. Nope.
Not me.
It's
Nope. No. Yeah.
it
Not
can
me.
be. It can be yada. It can be fantastic. Nope. Not me. I think we're
Yeah.
all ducking from time.
Oh yeah, it's
Is that a news
I
fast?
don't know how many times I've said to Leah, she comes in, you have to read this. I said, if it's another title, then you can forget it.
Right.
I cut the end. No more titles. And of course, in YAHOWAH 10, there's like 10 new titles, and so you're going, oh come on, God, enough already. Nope, not enough, never enough, never done. Oh my. So it was that was what turned us on to Ruth, because when you're reading the story of the Amma, who is named Asherah, the greatest of all women and the ultimate blessing of women, and you realize that is also Leah, because Leah actually was the first to call herself that. And you realize that the one that's writing that is the husband of this woman. That's why he calls himself the Baal. It's a husband. I know we have people that have any connection fit over that, but YAHOWAH refers to himself pursuant to the covenant in Israel as Baal. It's a very good term that Hasatan usurped, but he usurped Asher too, and Asher is an exceedingly important term. So you got to be more mature than the idiots that are going to trip over their own tongues over things. But once we did that, then we were immediately drawn to Ruth, where she is the one who announced that she is the Amma and that she's delivering the Kinsman Redeemer. And then we realized that something we have made known for the 20 years we've known each other, that Leah came to me because YAHOWAH, when she asked, how am I ever going to get to know you? YAHOWAH's answer was, go ask Ruth. And so she was searching Ruth to find out who this woman was that seemed to be so important to this story. And it was that led her to my books, and where she Googled feminine aspect of YAHOWAH or something of that regard, and that brought her to my books, which was the best mistake I ever made, because I overemphasized the feminine aspect of Ruach, which was an extrapolation too far. Nothing that I said was really untrue, but it was still, I overemphasized it. But had I not done that, she would not have found me. So it was as I say, sometimes you make mistakes and they're really helpful. That happened to be one of them. But then that leads you to, okay, so now we know we have multiple occurrences. We know we have 3. Are there more? And as I was starting to read the story of Dowd at his worst, I realized that every nuance of that story pertained to Adam, and that every aspect of Dowd's personality was reflected in Adam. And so I went right back to Adam and said, is it true? And then I found the line where in Shamuel, where YAHOWAH is introducing Dowd to the world. And the first thing he has to say about him is that he is all things pertaining to Adam. Adamoth. I said, well, I think I've uncovered something here that that people aren't going to like very much, but it's pretty much irrefutable at this point. And ultimately, that's then how we ended up concluding the series with this tribute to the story of Ruth. And I think it's Coming Home 6, and I'm trying to publish Coming Home 4, 5, and 6 contemporaneously, and that's been a pretty good challenge. But anyway, it's a lovely song. I think that knowing all we know about the Ruth story now and the Kinsman Redeemer, there's probably going to be another version of that song that will go even beyond all of that. And I've seen so many of the avatars that show the 3 of us together in that regard. So I think we're probably going to see another one. It isn't it.
Yeah.
You've got to see that, and because what you're visualizing there with your movie, that's Bethlehem.
Mhm.
Those are the fields of Bethlehem. And at the time Ruth arrived, Boaz was the most credible, most famous, probably the wealthiest, most respected person in all of Israel. He was the largest landowner in the breadbasket of Israel, which was Bethlehem. And oh my, that story and how the two of them met and what they had to say to each other, and then the really steamy love affair between the two of them. It's God doesn't leave anything out of that story. It's a beauty. And the fact that genuine, passionate, romantic love with all of its vulnerabilities and all of its beauty is told immediately after that story of what happened in Geba. Talk about the juxtaposition of wrong and right. It's a good one. All right, that takes us to the third song, my friend, that we're going to play. Having coming close
Lots
to 2
of
hours.
time.
We're probably not going to get to much
Time is
news today.
free.
We can probably do one item on the news, but before we get there, let's talk about the other song that you wrote. This is, I think it shows great versatility, because this song, the movie that you produced for it, is like nothing else. I suspect, knowing your personality and Leah's personality, that she probably suggested, let's do something kind of retro and let's do something fun, since the other one was so daggone serious. Similar lyrics. I wrote two poems. This one has similar lyrics. There's some overlap in it. And so she wrote this second one, and you guys decided to have fun with it, to bring it not all the way to today, but into a more contemporary setting than the last one, which was ancient times. You brought it into what was like 1950s Tel Aviv.
Yeah, that was Leah's idea, though.
I figured that was Leah's idea. She's kind of bossy that way, but she's got good insights in that regard.
Yeah.
And boy, did you pull it off. I mean, you have 1950s Tel Aviv down, and I just think that this idea of celebrating Yahweh's name and this discovery set to that kind of kind of the romance of the time.
Yeah.
It's
I
beautiful.
have to I have to have my Bilotti moment with this video. I love this video. Okay. I have to have my Bilotti moment with it.
Which means
to
Heath
kind of-
Lottie's our fact checker.
Yes. This is the first video. Okay. This came before the to Yisrael, actually.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This was the first iteration. Okay. And what happened was is that Leah did the song. Dipo and I had her and Dipo work together. They did the video for it and everything, how they wanted it done and everything. And we're on the day of, hey, we're going to premiere this thing. And Rich comes to us and says, I saw the video, and we just did the Luminary series where he read this poem in it, and this is not the new lyrics. And Leah's like, crap. And I'm going, wait, what? Oh, come on, we got to get this right, And so we go back to the video, we watch the book, we read the book, and it's not the right lyrics. So
I was going to leave that.
This thing was never supposed to see the light of day. She wanted this to be this secret, this, not anniversary present or something to you, a present to you that, and it was supposed to be very, 1950s fun, dancing, the whole 9 yards, musical.
Because her husband was born in the 1950s. That's how old he is. Right. Yeah.
So, this time anyway. And so this video would have never seen the light of day.
1950s too, but BCE.
This video would have never seen the light of day except for the I don't even think it was the Song Fest. I think it was one of the shows before the Song Fest that we were kind of talking about. And I just bring up, there's another video that you haven't even seen, Yeah. And so that's why I love this thing.
Yeah, I sort of skirted around that because I didn't want to say what actually happened, but I had written the lyrics, and then I wrote those lyrics quite a long time ago, years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And then I came back through, and doing an edit and for these 3 versions of Coming Home that I'm trying to publish simultaneously. It's 2,000 pages, so it's a lot of material. And I look at the lyrics and I say, I can do better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do better than that. And so I rewrote the lyrics. Mm-hmm. And then I told Leah, I have rewritten these lyrics, and I sent her the file not once, but 3 times, and reminded her 3 times, I've rewritten the lyrics. This is it. But she was, she is she's a focuser. She gets obsessed with what she's doing and draws in the curtains and everything else. And she worked by obsession. And so not once did Leah, I rewrote these lyrics, I think resonate. And so this is another example of a very desirable mistake, a mistake that had wonderful results.
I'm just so happy that we've got the opportunity, because I love the video, and I was so disappointed when it was like we weren't going to use it. I mean, like, I love the music, I love the feel of it, I love the song, the whole 9.
Yes.
And I'm like, and no one's ever going to see it. This is just not right. So much work went into it,
Yes.
So
this was the absolute best result of that situation. And a matter of fact, if the situation hadn't emerged this way, had the error not been made, we wouldn't have gotten near this result.
No.
So this is the best of all worlds. Yeah. So that's a pretty good introduction. Let's spin it up.
I am YAHOWAH and I am God, so why is my name outlawed? Hashem is an ugly facade, why remain so flawed with this nasty fraud? I offered you kinship, a love and relationship, a partnership, a special fellowship, and your retort was a religious lip. My story is of grain, olives and wine. Why do you decline? Worse wine. You could be mine before the deadline. Read the sign, be fine and by design. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. I told you everything you needed to glow. Revelations to help you grow. My son sowed the seeds, don't you know? And yet you denied him with a crushing blow. Your Messiah returns, he's been here before. Your guilty bore, he opened the door of this and more, I swore. It's foretold in his Mizmor. Dowd is my son, my chosen one. Your salvation he won, it's already done. The Savior as bright as the sun. From my anointed do not run. He served as the Passover lamb, yet you don't give a damn. He fulfilled the promise made to Abraham. He opened the door jam. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. Haven't a clue, such nonsense you spew, so the final harvest will be few. The truth was not hidden, it's religion that's forbidden. And now that you are war-ridden, please look at what was written. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. You denied my acclaim. You fled my flame. You erased my name. When I was your God and Dowd your king, was a different song to sing. To the goem you did not cling. You were shielded from their sting. Isolated and hated, you are battered. Your dreams are shattered. The nation is tattered. My words have not mattered. It is all there in the Mikra. There is no reason to have gone astray. They are the way. Join me on Shabuah. King. You denied his acclaim. You robbed him of his fame. What a shame. Who served as the lamb, whose blood is on the door jam. Do you need a diagram? Do you even give a damn? Do you know the son who was given? For what has he striven? How are you to be forgiven? What is your decision? Dowd is his name. To Israel he came. You denied his acclaim. Robbed him of his fame. Have you no shame? This need not be the end of the story. You have been called to glory. To my covenant be a signatory. Of my Torah do query. It's time what is mine is replevin. Let me remove your leaven. All on the basis of 7. Then I can bring you to heaven. YAHOWAH is my name. To Israel I came. Accept my acclaim, embrace my flame, reinstate my name.
It brings a smile, doesn't it? Love the beat, love the visuals. Oh, nostalgia sometimes really does work. Any additional thoughts on that, Dipo, now that you had a chance to watch it? You got to be pleased with it.
No, I like it. It's not like I don't like it. No, of course I like it. I do, but I just kind of prefer the other one because it's more focused on, portraying yours.
Yes. Yeah, this one is fun, and the other one is serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the message on both of them is serious. It's
just
this
one,
of
course,
is delivered in a.
It's like the Israelites, they were just playing, and God is telling them, everything they needed to know, but they were playing, not really listening, and all that. So that's the message in the other one. So. Yeah.
One of the songs we played in a more recent show was one that you did the graphics for. Which one was that, Kevin?
The one that Dipo did the graphics for?
Yeah, that the visuals for that was in a recent show. Do you recall which one? It might have been this past week's, was it?
Past week?
Yeah.
That's,
Zachariah.
Zachariah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zachariah. That was a collaboration of you and Mariah, right? Mostly you, but with some Mariah. Do you have it available to play?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Let's give it a whirl.
Counted every thought I keep before the breath, before the bone. You saw the shape of flesh unknown, wondrous works in secret made. A life you wrote before the day. lit the dark, you spoke the sea, you set the stars on paths for me. You raised the dust, you tuned the flame, and called the broken by our name. The earth still hums from what you've done, and the barren woman stands to sing her song. Oh YAHOWAH, you work so wondrous, clear as dawn and deep as thunder. You hold the night, you wake the soul, you make the lost and shattered whole. Oh YAHOWAH, your ways are true. The earth remembers what you do. The child you'd always formed through every fear and every fall. Your hand was there to hear my call. You write in blood, not in dust. You turn our ruin back to trust. You called us out from Mitzrayim, out of the captivity, out of the pain. You made a path through waters wide and brought the weary to your side. Now my very breath is testimony. My heartbeat sings of our story. Place to set apart light, from lost to found, from dark to sight. The work you do, the name you bear. Is there any likeness unto you, YAHOWAH? YAHOWAH, your work so wondrous, clear as dawn and deep as thunder. You hold the night, you wake the soul, you make the lost and shattered whole. Your ways are true. The remnant will remember what you do.
Okay, I have to correct one thing. I said that when we're on the Temple Mount, we're talking to the world. I said we're going to be standing there side by side, arm in arm. We have so many songs, we might be sitting down instead. We may need to pull up a chair and,
right,
and get comfortable.
A 3-day playlist.
Yeah, we're going to have a playlist. And I think that the way we'll go about it is we'll make each presentation a song. And we'll do is what we did on Dustifier, where we play the song and then we stop the song after every scene and explain what the elements were and how they all work together to tell the story in that scene, and then go scene to scene. We'll explain the lyrics, explain the visuals, and then walk the person through the whole song that way, and then play the song a couple of more times just to reinforce all those things now that people are clued in. What a marvelous way to teach. Can you imagine Eliah's commentary on your songs?
Hopefully favorably.
Right?
Yeah. That's something I want to hear. Is we'll have Eliah do a.
I hope he's not going to joke about some passages.
Yeah, we'll have. He's going to. But that's part of it. That's going to be the fun of it. Yeah. And if you don't, if he doesn't joke with you, then he doesn't love you. So, well, he'll jump if he doesn't like you too. That's he's pretty good at that as well. But yeah, that'll be fun. That's beautiful. And of course, Zachariah means memorable man of God. And the introduction of that song, where you go from the universe that God created, and He's out there in the seventh dimension, and we just marvel at the beauty of the universe, and then through all of that, and the fields of stars and the nebulas and the galaxies, then you go to a shot where the Earth, as the sphere, is coming out of all of that. And then it goes to the spherical shape of a woman's womb. What a transition that one is.
Yeah.
I'm bringing the world into your womb. I'm bringing the universe into your womb. In fact, all of the universe right now, its fate is going to be in your womb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The story, the song is all about, identifying all these great things, that Yahweh has done.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's why you have the transitions like that. And that's it.
Sometimes I wonder if we had the same mother. You're remarkable, Dipo. I love you, man. I don't, Kevin. We talked about at the beginning of the show that we might go from the greatness of Leah's and Dipo's collaboration to the great faux pas of Netanyahu. He had a blunder yesterday that probably did him in, and I'm delighted with that, because I think he has been exceedingly destructive for Israel. He has turned the whole world against Israel in his malfeasance and his representation of the country. And it's not easy to have the entire world turns against one nation, but they have. And it's largely because of what Netanyahu has done. He's been foolish in his responses, not only in Gaza, but with Iran and even in Lebanon now. And so I was going to show the horrid, insensitive, disgraceful campaign, a film that he had made to contrast it with the beauty of Leah's collaboration with Dipo. And we talked about, I thought this would be a great collaboration of showing how you can do things that are magnificent and beautiful and inspiring. And you can use this exact same tool to destroy. And he destroyed his reputation. But I think we're going to do that tomorrow.
It'll still be there tomorrow.
Well, it'll be there tomorrow. I want to end the show with my favorite of the Dipo Leah collaborations, is Dust to Fire. I know you have it, Kevin, in your file there. I just think this is movie magic. It's the story told in such a marvelous way, with every lyric having drenched in meaning and every graphic anticipating the next lyric. This is really a beautiful thing that you did here, Dipo. It's a real tribute to yourself. It's a tribute to God, to the Dowd, to the covenant family, to all of us. We are we're all better because you're part of us.
Thank you. And I'm happy to be here. Like I said, it's something I've been wanting to do. I've always wanted to know the truth, and you are here. You've been working on bringing out the truth for the past 25 years. So I'm happy to be here.
Speaking of being here, I've been negotiating a deal with Yah. Now, whether or not he's going to agree with it, it seems to be going along with it, so it doesn't seem to be of trouble to him. That we're going to be here for 1,000 years, where we have a responsibility of building and maintaining the library of books and these music presentations and the vlogs. And I'm presented as the man from the sea, and I love the sea. And so my great love would be to be on a boat that I can travel around the world and have studios in it that we're producing these kinds of songs and these the advancing the books and doing the vlogs. And I think there's got to be a Dipo deck on this vessel. Your wife, kids, everybody is welcome, but there's got to be a Dipo deck on this vessel.
That'd be nice.
Now, Leah's going to have. She wants to have a sister ship. She's an introvert, so she wants to come over and visit and then party and wine and dine and dance and sing and all that sort of thing. And then she wants to be able to decompress, because that's what she does. She's an introvert too. So there's also going to be a Leah deck, but Leah's also going to have her matching floating home. So she's going to be yanking at you pretty good. You're going to be highly desired, Mr. Dipo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But well, I'm going to really fund toys on my boat if I get to if YAHOWAH ends up supporting this. But it seems like a very natural way to spend that 1,000 years, so that we're equipped and prepared to do what we're going to do. Rich is going to be there. Kevin may have his own, because he's kind of an introvert too. But everybody is kind of on their thing. But we'll see how it all plays out. It could be really fun. Yeah, we might all just go to an island someplace and enjoy that too. But you may be a city guy. You live in New York now, don't you?
I live in New York. I live in Long Island. I like quiet. I live in a quiet place.
So you live in a quiet place.
Yeah.
So you're not downtown Manhattan would not be your thing.
Nah, not Brooklyn, not Manhattan. Nah.
Yeah. I like being able to look out the windows and have a long view. I don't want to see another building out, 10 feet from my window. I like light and nature. So we might be similar in that. So let's talk about nature. This is a story that begins in the alongside the Nile. It isn't well known, but YAHOWAH did not begin his relationship with Noach as a baby and go all in on this baby that he did not know, hoping that it might work out. Moshe was not in his first life when he was put in the Teva. It was at least his second. He was Joseph. He was already experienced dealing with the Egyptians and representing YAHOWAH among the Egyptians, and creating a safe place for his people to land in Mitzrayim. So he was Joseph. And when his soul was reinserted into this baby that would become Moshe, he wasn't just tossed in the river. His mother's name means significant to YAHOWAH. The father's name is for the people. Moshe was not raised by Pharaoh. He was not raised in Pharaoh's household. He was raised by his mother and father. He was a full adult when he finally went into Pharaoh's household, spent very, very little of his life there, because the next line after he is in Pharaoh's household is he confronts the taskmaster and kills him. And so he was raised by mother and father. He was given the values that he would need to know to do that job. He was supported in the way that his character would come to the fore. And so Leah may have sensed it, but in one of her 8 lives, she served in that role. We were together in that role. And that narrative of delivering Moshe and protecting Moshe is, when accurately translated, is exceedingly different than how it is portrayed in English Bibles. And the mother, whose name is significant to Yah, it's the same word that YAHOWAH or that Dowd uses when he says, "We're going to ask the Amma if I'm significant." And she is referred to in this story as the Amma. And her name means, yes, she is significant to Yah. So you depict her along the side of the Nile, and she's in slave girl garb. And she grows from the slave girl beside the Nile, who's a very clever slave girl, because she's the one who negotiates the protection of Pharaoh's household over her son to raise her son while paid for by the household of Pharaoh and protected by the household of Pharaoh at the time there's a genocide against the Israelites. It was really clever what she did. That's why the song is so beautiful starting there. And then it grows as she becomes the Amma protecting her beloved Dowd. And we move into the what we witness in the last mashal, the word picture. And it's this life where she goes through being Ruth and Dowd's grandmother, great grandmother, and then actually the mother of Dowd. But we're pursuing this woman's life through God's story. So I just think it's a beautiful depiction. I think that your interpretation of the lyrics were theatrical class. I mean, it really theatrical. There's places where the camera pans back and and up, and you're running to the sea, and you see the dust come up from underneath her feet. There are places where the leaf is flowing because she talks about this leaf that is caught in the wind. There are just when she finally realizes who she is, and she's beside the river Jordan, and she's washing the waters coming up on her face, and the way the sun comes through the olives, and the constant integration of these olives, which are established by Zachariah, the two trees. It's the tree of knowledge and the tree of lives on both sides of the menorah, and that constant reinforcement of those trees. And also, she's running to the sea because her husband is of the sea. The whole thing is just gorgeous. Do you have a favorite scene in it?
I don't think so. I like the entire thing. I don't think I have a particular one, but maybe that part where that part that was talking about a child that was following the smell of
bread.
You know, I think I like.
Yeah, that whole series there, where you have the river and the leaf in the wind, and so the rain follows the stream, the leaf, the wind, and the child, the smell of the bread. You know how you're following. You're going where the words lead in God's story. You're going where your life is supposed to take root and to blossom and to grow. Yeah. And that whole series of events is spectacular. But in the entire thing, you know, as she confronts the sages of Israel, and they're all the naysayers, and she's stronger, more beautiful, and wiser than all of them, and she leaves them, and then you see her in this beautiful scene, and she's running through this beautiful garden, just one after another, and then it ends, of course, where she's silhouetted against the sea. You have the camera pull way back, and you see these beautiful cliffs and the bonfire that is the eternal light that will be on Teruah, and this remnant of the people who have come home because of her work. It's pretty hard to have a favorite part, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, the songs, you know, they are like deep. I always tell her that songs are deep, you know, because when you listen to the songs, you could begin to, you know, link all these things together, and it's difficult to actually pinpoint, you know, one part that you like, because they are all like telling a story. So yeah, that's why I like the whole thing, but you know, they are deep. Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that this reminds me of is that when Leah created this introduction for this series, and this is the second version of it, because the first one I thought was too lighthearted for what we were doing, and And to her credit, rather than Leah throwing things at me and saying, "Yeah, I worked on this very hard. How could you do this? I love this song," and Kevin loved it as well. And I said, "No, it's not going to. We're not going to use that." And then she went to create this one. And when she created this one, I said, "I like it a lot. I think this is going to work, but we're going to make some improvements on it." And one of the improvements that I said is that I want to have Dipo's avatar on it, and I want Mariah's avatar added to it. And I want Kirk's avatar added to it, but I don't. And I wanted John, Y to Z John, or younger John. I wanted his avatar added to it. And I said, first of all, I want it to be more inclusive, but it's got to be real. So do not add the avatars, Kevin, unless you can get in touch with Dipo. He did one marvelous show with us. He doesn't have to do it all the time. I know he works and his time is valuable, and we can't take too much of his time. But we've got to be able to have Dipo be a regular guest to do this. But it's really important to me that we make that happen. And I know Mariah does not have time this time of day. I really want, and so she gave you her schedule. She gave you every day that she can do this show over the next 6 months. And we booked those dates out. And we've had John a couple of times, and I'm sure we'll have John back. But it's moments like this where I am just so pleased we pursued that approach, because we're not complete without you. Seriously,
Absolutely.
we're just not complete without you.
Thank you.
There is no we without you.
And there is no me without you guys.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's mutually beneficial. There's no selfishness in this. There's times I feel like we're brothers. There's times I feel like we're father and son. But there is a genuine appreciation and love for you, man. So deeply appreciative, but also inspired by you. There's huge admiration and respect.
Thank you.
You really have a gift, and to see that gift be used in this magnificent way.
I think it's just the least that I can do, though. Like I said, you have been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah. Well,
it was one of the things when me and Leah spoke, I said, how is Yada doing this? Like doing like 16, 18 hours every day. That's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And there's times when it feels really wonderful, and there's times where you've had we had a really horrible episode of the Mother Goddess called vomiting all over themselves, and then somebody that I really tried to help vomiting all over herself, and this week. And so there are times where you say I can't ignore this, because we tread strictly on credibility. That is that is the currency of what we do. And then you have moments like these, and they offset it a billionfold. I've made this offer to others. It would also go out to you. I know that you moved here from Nigeria, and I know you're working 2 jobs, and that you have a family, but you're making a huge contribution to us. If there are things that I can reimburse in the ways that I can help, I'm absolutely willing to help you. At this time, you've asked for nothing, but I'm here to tell you that if you're in a situation where you need some help or want some help, or I'm here to help you. Okay.
Thank you.
So, you've in fact at YAHOWAH, how there's private message there. Just go there and send me a note if there's something that is of concern to you, or something that you need help on, or if it's just to help cover a situation that you're in a tight spot. Let me know. Okay. All right. Let's end the program with Dust of Fire, may we?
Okay.
Was dust in the dawn. had not yet spoken my name. Then I sought YAHOWAH, like rain on a buried sea, like fire folded into cedar, like the first silver thread of morning breaking the rim of the dark. I heard your name as a new hears a whistle in the field through windwood and stone. I heard your name as a mother hears the steps of the one who comes home. I am the armor, I have no palace, I have no crown, only my open palms. I have no song of my own except the one you placed in my breath. YAHOWAH, you are the well hidden in a wilderness, the lantern in the hollow of the darkest night, the path of dawn laid across the face of the sea. You are the wild wind that wakes the olive tree, the pulse beneath the vineyard soil, the compassion that bends low to lift the ones the world has broken. I turned from the noise of men, from altars of ash and echoes of hay. Quiet, your name was a thunderclap alone. It was also the shelter after the storm. YAHOWAH, 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 YAHOWAH. I am yours to remember. Write your name upon my brow, on the inside of my waiting heart, like a blue flower in the spring. Let me be the small song that rises from the clay when your breath moves through it and gives it life. YAHOWAH, YAHOWAH, you are the morning in the throat of the dark. You are the fire beyond the veil of the hills. You are the lamp at the feet of those who are beloved. I respond with open hands. Here I am.